Should people have the choice to end their own life? My goal is by the end of this speech you will all have an understanding of the controversy that surrounds passive euthanasia and hopefully will understand my belief in its ethicalness. In 2005, America was introduced to the interesting case of Terri Schiavo. Doctors diagnosed her with hypoxic encephalopathy, a neurological disease due to the lack of oxygen reaching the brain, and declared her as being in a constant vegetative state. Terri'sFight.org explains that though Terri was able to breathe on her own, a feeding tube was necessary for proper nourishment and hydration. This feeding tube kept her alive for over 15 years. When it was finally removed, she died a natural death in 13 days. But why did it take 15 years for the tube to be removed? Is that really what she wanted? Hopefully none of you have to face a decision of whether it is time to let a family member go. But it is not a stretch to think that one day one of us may. Euthanasia is defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary as the act or practice of killing or permitting the death of hopelessly sick or injured individuals as persons or domestic animals in a relatively painless way for reasons of mercy. According to procon.org, active euthanasia is defined as a professional taking a specific step, such as administering a lethal injection of a drug to end a patient's life. Passive euthanasia is when a professional withdraws medical procedures to let the patient have a natural death. The right to die law states that passive euthanasia should be legal and active euthanasia should be illegal. Passive euthanasia is ethical because a terminally ill patient actually endures a natural death through this process. Unlike active euthanasia, passive euthanasia simply allows a person to die naturally without the addition of outside forces. Medical treatments are withdrawn or ignored. No steps are taken to harm the body with this process, so the patient just endures a natural death. Common forces of passive euthanasia include removing feeding and breathing tubes, signing do not resuscitate forms, not performing surgery necessary for survival, or simply avoiding medications and treatments altogether. Maybe because of all the medical advancements that have been made, ignoring medical treatments is one of the only ways to die a natural death. Passive euthanasia allows a terminally ill individual's body to naturally deteriorate, which is anything but unethical. Additionally, passive euthanasia requires the approval of the terminally ill patient before any actions are taken. If the death request is not approved by the patient, then a medical professional, if he or she is acting ethical, will not administer any form of euthanasia. Passive euthanasia is ethical because it would be immoral for a doctor to perform medical treatment against a patient's desire. If a patient was suffering with medical treatment and wished to naturally pass away, I believe it is wrong to make the patient suffer through life. Furthermore, the right to die laws for the majority of the states in this country say that the deliberate act of a medical professional ending a patient's life is illegal, unless the professional is allowing a natural death to occur. Passive euthanasia is far from being a one-sided issue. It is a topic of great controversy due to a variety of religious beliefs, personal opinions, and pro-life views in the U.S. People with strong religious beliefs believe passive euthanasia is unethical and should be illegal since religion often concerns itself with life, death, morality, and the value of living. It is not fair to try to unchange somebody's religious views, and these people have justified reasons for standing against the practice of passive euthanasia. But I do not believe that anybody would want a loved one to have to suffer through something like Terri Schiavo did. The debate over euthanasia may be one that is never fully resolved to meet everybody's beliefs and viewpoints because it is so controversial. However, I continue to feel that passive euthanasia is a procedure that is ethical. Millions of people hope to die a natural death, and passive euthanasia provides terminally ill patients with that opportunity. It seems inhumane to force a terminally ill patient to suffer in pain and through medical procedures, or to keep alive someone who can't even eat on his or her own. The option of passive euthanasia is no way forcing individuals to choose that path. It is the patient's willing choice, and they have the freedom to make that choice. Unless passive euthanasia suddenly does not require the permission of the patient, it will continue to be an ethical option for death. Just try to picture yourself as Terri, a terminally ill patient, suffering through life in pain. What choice would you make?